Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. So we get a lot of questions from students who are taking the operational case study exam for the first time. Let's say they're coming from the exemption route. Let's say they've not taken the E1, P1 and F1 exams. Let's say they've taken up the newly introduced FLP platform, the financial learning platform, where they only have to take the case study. So these students have a lot of ambiguity as to what is the case study exam, because it's going to be the first case study that they encounter. It's going to be the first case study that they ever take. So we thought, as CIMA registered tuition providers, we should create a video for you to help you understand what the operational case study is about and how you should go studying about it. So my name is Devansh and I'm the lead tutor at Finntutors. I lead all the discussions for the case studies, and we have been working with CIMA, collaborating with CIMA on a lot of webinars, on a lot of material that we've created for CIMA itself. And now we are presenting it to you as well, students who are studying with us as well, to better your CIMA learning experience. We are registered providers, like I said, so everything that comes from us will be well founded, well directed, and well presented for you. Today's video focuses specifically on an introduction to the operational case study exam. Firstly, we'll have to learn about the operational case study exam. So what is this exam? This is a case study type examination that tests the knowledge, the skills, and the techniques from three pillars in a simulated scenario. What are these three pillars? It's the E1, P1, and F1 syllabus, which is most important for the operational case study exam. So if you have knowledge from these three pillars, only then you will be able to apply it to the case study scenario, and only then you will be able to do well on this exam. So the first thing is, candidates are given a fictional case study, which means they'll give you a fictional company 6 weeks or 7 weeks before the exam, and it remains same over 2 exam windows. So for example, the November case study exam Preseen will be released in the end of September, and it will remain the same for the November exam and the February exam. The same company will be tested upon. So CIMA will release a fictional case study or a fictional company which is called Preseen. They'll give you 30 odd pages of information on that company, details about what that company does, who the managers are, financial statements, and all of that, which will be fictional. It's not real. It's a Preseen company that they will create and give you information on. And then based on that company, you are asked case study based questions which relate to your knowledge from E1, P1, and F1. So for example, they can ask you, for our company XYZ, what would be the best costing system? For example, I'm saying. So you'll need to have Preseen knowledge first. Secondly, you'll need to have costing knowledge, which is part of your P1 syllabus. So as you can see, a fictional case study is given where you'll have to use your E1, P1, and F1 knowledge to represent your answer. Without knowing the company, without having the three pillars knowledge, we can't do well on this exam. The operational case study exam simulates the role of a finance officer, which means they assume that they want you to rather assume that you are a finance officer in this company XYZ. When they ask you a question, they want you to answer as a finance officer. We'll talk more about the role deeper into the video, but a brief of the case study exam is that you will have to use your E1, P1, and F1 knowledge. Secondly, you will have to analyze the Preseen company that they release. Only then you can do well on this exam, because these are the starting points. And once you pass this exam, you are awarded the Diploma in Management Accounting certificate, which again enhances your employability. So the first part was just to know about this case study exam, and I've taken it slow, I've taken it from scratch, because a lot of students, this will be your first case study exam. So it's important to know the basics of a case study exam as well, because it's different from conventional courses that you would be doing. Continuing to exam facts. So we learned that a case study will be given to you and all of that, but let's look at more details about what this exam is going to be like. So you will have 4 questions in the exam, and the total time will be of 3 hours, which means each question is going to be 45 minutes. It's a very unique exam. So it's not like you can write the 4th question first, and then the first question, then the second question, then the third question. No, you have to go chronologically. So the first question, you will have 45 minutes. Once the 45 minutes are up, question number 1 is automatically submitted. You can't look at it, you can't view it again, you can't check it. So question 1, 45 minutes, gone. You're automatically going to question 2, 45 minutes, gone. Then 3, and then 4, and that's how your 3 hours will lapse. So it's a total of 3 hours, but for each question you get 45 minutes only. And in each question, you can have multiple smaller questions as well. So in question number 1, there could be 2 requirements. Like for example, explain this costing system. Second, advantages of this costing system, whatever it is. So they can ask you multiple, or they can give you multiple tasks, as CIMA calls it, under each question. All of them have to be answered in 45 minutes. You're given 45 minutes total for first question. If there are 2 requirements, you have to answer it in 45 minutes. If there are 3 requirements, you have to answer it in 45 minutes. So you can see time is limited. You should have a clear-cut plan, clear-cut structure before you enter the exam. Otherwise, you'll just keep thinking and never be able to achieve your goal. That is why signing up with a tuition provider like us makes your job easier, because all of this is controlled by us. We'll show that to you. But remember, exam facts is Preseen company is given, which we will analyze. Secondly, 3-hour exam, 45 minutes for each question. Coming to further details now. I told you that each question you'll get 45 minutes. Now for each of these questions, this is the first screen that you'll see in the actual exam. This is to give you a feel of what it looks like. So you'll see section number 1, 45 minutes. You'll see sub-tasks 2. And then they'll tell you the percentage weightage for each task. So it's so clear over here that they have told you that there are 2 tasks in question number 1, and both are worth 50-50% of the marks or 50-50% of the time. I'm going to detail more on what this 50% is, how you are supposed to write, and how you're supposed to divide your time later in my mini course videos or in my course videos, because I feel that it's a lot to cover and a lot of technicality in the introductory video. So I'm going to create another video on answer writing, which will soon be available to everybody, which you'll be able to view, and that will give you a very detailed analysis of what this 50% is and how you're supposed to write. As of now, let's just understand. So a mock writing video is going to be a separate video. As of now, we're just doing the introduction to the exam. So let's just understand that there are 2 tasks, as you can see, and each task percentage is given. It's 50-50, it could be 60-40 like it is in the second question. It could be 40-60, it could be 3 tasks of 20-20 and then 60 any percentage can be given. So for us to note that this is going to be the pattern of the exam. That is important. That is what I'm trying to point out over here. So 3 hours in total, 45 minutes for each question. Under each question, you will have subtasks, and each subtask has a weightage which you can see on the right hand side of your screen. This weightage means the percentage of time to spend on each subtask. So it gives you the mark allocation, plus it's telling you that if you have 45 minutes, spend 50% of the time on task A, 50% of the time on task B. Only then you'll be able to do justice to that particular task. To show you a further detailed aspect, I have one screenshot of the question on your screen. So this is a screenshot taken from an actual exam question, just to show you that this question is asking you two things. This is an example only. So you'll see it says, firstly, how would the release of a significant proportion affect the value chain? For example, this is 50% of your marks and you commit 50% of the time to writing this part. Secondly, discuss the business perspective. So second task is also provided to you. That is what we can clearly see over here. So you'll see in a question, there are two tasks that you have to answer with the percentages mentioned, and this clearly means that you have to answer both in 45 minutes. Now, do you think this is possible without practice? When students sign up with us, we do 25 exam styled questions in the same pattern, same structure, but related to your case study specifically. That's what gives them confidence. And when we mark them, check them, correct them, that's what gives them the direction. So without practice, doing well on this exam is pretty much not possible. So to summarize what we learned till now, this exam is based on E1, P1 and F1 knowledge. So knowledge from these three is very, very important. Secondly, the Preseen fictional company will be released, which we'll have to analyze. Thirdly, the exam is 3 hours, 45 minutes for each question. Fourthly, each question will have multiple sub-tasks with percentages telling you the importance and the time commitment that you'll give to writing that particular part. And I'll be creating a separate video, a more detailed video on how to approach or how to write an exam style question, where I'll show you ways to break down this 50% better to understand how much you should write as well. But that's in a separate video. Right now we are just understanding this exam. So we learnt about the details of this exam. The exam facts is what we learnt about. Now let's go into further discussions. First part we are speaking about is your role. So as you already know in brief that your role is that of a finance officer in the operational case study exam. Now what is a finance officer supposed to do? According to CIMA, the finance officer's role is one which is dynamic. On your screen, you'll see the role of a finance officer vaguely displayed by CIMA itself. Let's read to some parts of it and I'll show you a very clear link and indication with your E1, P1 and F1 syllabus. So let's read. The finance officer makes full use of technologies that are available for collection of data, analysis of data. This is straight from your E1 syllabus. Next, the role simulated is that of a finance officer who works with a collaborative team. So collaborative approach, participative approach, part of your P1 and E1 syllabus. Same way they say help in preparation of budgets. So budgeting, part of P1 syllabus. Same way they say preparation of relevant financing reports, drawing up data, using data, short-term opportunities, short-term financing, part of P1 and F1. Same way they say dealing with ethical implications, tax implications, part of F1. So the finance officer's role that CIMA has laid out is very clear indication to your E1, P1 and F1 syllabus. So if you haven't revised the syllabus, will you be able to play the role of a finance officer? I don't think so. So the first place to start for any student who's taking the operational case study exam is to revise your E1, P1 and F1. Without that, don't think about moving ahead to analyze the case study because it will not make any sense. You won't be able to make, a detailed analysis or detailed sense of it because it's the crux of this exam. Nearly 60% of your marks are based on how you can replicate the E1, P1 and F1 knowledge. If you can't replicate this knowledge, you won't be able to get the marks. So that is why the first place to start for any student is E1, P1 and F1. Without that, you can't play the role of a finance officer. Without that, you can't write a case study exam question. Something very, very new that CIMA has introduced recently at the end of 2019 is the blueprints. Now, this is one thing which is, a very discussed word, I would say, which is confusing students, which is really making students go round and round in loops. It's very straightforward because it's nothing but directives into your E1, P1 and F1 syllabus. CIMA says that a finance officer should be able to complete 6 core activities. And these core activities are nothing but relations to your E1, P1 and F1 syllabus. So if you're doing your revision from my study notes, from the FLP platform or with any other tuition provider, you're automatically covering the blueprints. You're automatically covering the core areas that CIMA has identified. So it's very important to make sure that you don't get confused over here. You just understand that these core activities are automatically being covered if you are studying and doing your revision religiously. Let me give you an example because everything is understood better if I give demos, if I give examples. So let's take activity 1. It says prepare costing information to meet different purposes and the needs of management. So this is one activity which a finance officer should be able to do. And under this activity, there are different I can statements. So the core area is broken down into different I can statements. For example, let's read the second I can statement. It says I can apply different costing methods to produce costing information. Ask yourself, can I apply different costing methods? Firstly, if you've not revised P1, you obviously cannot even answer this question. If you've revised P1, you know that what is the costing method. The first costing method is your normal absorption costing method, marginal costing method, activity-based costing. Can you recall these? If you can recall these, means your revision is on point. So you can see that these I can statements are nothing but directives and indications into the E1, P1 and F1 syllabus. If you're doing your revision, you are automatically covering this. And that is why I say first do your revision from the raw study notes, from the material that we give you. And then use these I can statements as a method of revision to quiz yourself, to make sure your understanding and knowledge is to point. Because if you only try to pick up these I can statements and study only these parts, there is a full possibility that you'll miss out on some sections. You'll misinterpret some sections. So we say, and we first ask students to never ever leave anything from P1. P1 is the most important syllabus area. Each question in the exam will have something from P1 that you'll have to include. So never leave anything from P1. After that, you can start revising the I can statements while you are doing your E1 and F1 studies. We give more direction when students choose to sign up with us. But this video is only created to help you understand what the I can statements are, which I have made clear to you. So the role of a finance officer has been broken down into I can statements, into rather blueprints, 6 blueprints, and these blueprints or core areas are further broken down into I can statements, as you can see on your screen. So my suggestion, use the study notes, then come to the blueprints as a revision document. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, if you choose to sign up with us on any of our study courses, you'll get a one-of-a-kind I can statement explanation revision document, which gives you revision based on each I can statement. So you don't have to go searching into E1, P1 and F1 here, there and everywhere. You don't have to do that search because we've created that explanation for you. You're not going to find it with any other tuition provider because it's my material. I have created it, we have summarized it, and we have presented it based on what we feel is best for students during their preparation stage. Just to recap, we learned the role of a finance officer, then we learned the meaning of the blueprints that CIMA has introduced as part of this introduction video as yet. So I explained pretty much every fact about the exam up until now. Now to how you will pass this exam. Now to how you will, ace this exam. So to make it very easy for students, we've divided your preparation into 3 main pillars. The first pillar is the revision pillar. Without revision, we are not going anywhere. Doesn't make sense to even touch the case study. So the revision is E1, P1 and F1. P1 being the most important focus area. Now firstly, when you choose to sign up with us, on any of our courses, we'll give you the entire study notes for E1, P1 and F1. They are very well summarized. They are very well directed. And for P1, we'll give you learning documents as well, which means we'll tell you from each chapter, from the case study perspective, what you should remember. Just see how directed the study is. Again, it's material which we have created. Secondly, if you go for our full course, then we have a revision course that's included. The revision course is video recorded explanations for E1, P1 and F1. The entire E1, P1 and F1 syllabus explained in under 24 hours of video recorded explanations. You'll see how summarized they are. They are very case study specific because without revision, again, we are not going anywhere. So the first thing I'll ask every student to do is focus on getting your revision done. And by getting your revision done, I don't mean mug up everything that's there in E1, P1 and F1. I mean, you should be able to explain a topic in your own words. To give you a very simple example, we have quiz questions for a P1. And these quiz questions, even before we touch the case study, help you explain a topic in your own words. So, students feel, how should I study this topic? Lots of formulas. What should I do? What should I not do? So after every 5 chapters of their revision with us, we have quiz questions to help you understand how a specific topic should be written, could be written, because then we give you an analysis of the same as well. So we make you think, we make you type, then we evaluate and we show you the path during your revision itself. Because just revision doesn't help. You have to showcase your explanatory skills. That's what this exam is about. So the first step is revision. P1 is most important. And for each, we give you our study notes, our very illustrative study notes, Again, example of which you are seeing on your screen. This is a screenshot of the mind maps that we have created to help you summarize your learning and in one page revise one chapter. So a lot of diagrams are used, a lot of representation is used in our notes to make it easy and simple for students. So how do you pass? The first thing is focus on revision, explanation in your own words, and making sure any topic you can explain in your own words, no calculations, no formulas, no sums, but in your own simple words. That's what we want, and that's what the case study wants, which we test for our students through these quiz questions even before the case study aspect, the case study mock questions are brought to fore. So the first thing is the revision pillar. So some points to note: the case study is a standalone exam. It doesn't require, learning everything from E1, P1 and F1. Absolutely not. It only needs your evaluation and application skills. There is no focus on sum solving. There is no creation of any tables. Your job is to simply explain the topic in your own words. Nothing else. So please do not get bogged down into the details, and please make sure you only focus on explanations in your own words. If you can explain absorption costing in your own words, 5-7 lines, move on. Marginal costing in your own words, activity based costing in your own words. Keep covering the topics, but never get stuck and never try to learn anything, because we want your own explanations. If in the exam they wanted definitions, they can get it from Google. Why do they want a finance officer? They want a finance officer so that you can explain something easily, which everybody understands. So revision is the place to start, but no details are needed for the case study exam, which we evidence through all the practice that we do in my courses. After you are done with the revision, we move to pillar number 2. Pillar number 2 is industry and Preseen analysis. After you've done your revision, we have to step into the case study zone. So the first thing that we do is we present a detailed industry analysis for you, which we create, something extra that we give you. Snapshots of the same are seen on your screen right now. We create this document for you, we create an explanation for you about the industry, and then present it to you, whatever the company is. For example, in the May 2022 and August 2022 case study, they gave us a company in the operational level called Meals at Home, which made meal kits and delivered them. You know those ready-made meal kits? They made them and delivered them. So this industry analysis is created on the global meal kit delivery service market. Whatever company you receive and whatever industry that company is in, we'll create an industry analysis for that industry and provide it to you. Again, we are registered tuition providers. We know what we are doing. This is done for a very specific reason, to give you background information, which is very important. So second is understanding the industry, which we give you through our industry analysis. And second is the Preseen analysis. The company that CIMA has released needs to be analyzed. So we create a full document and a full Preseen explanation of 3 hours, complete 3 hours, word by word explanation of what the Preseen is, linking it to the E1, P1 and F1 syllabus, linking it to the questions that can come up in the exam. All of that we analyze for you, we study for you, and then we present it to you so that you understand it in a very, very informative and a very, very not boring way. We try to keep it interactive. So one page example has been presented to you over here. You see all the boxes that we have added are my ideas, are our inputs and relations to your E1, P1 and F1 syllabus. Like this, the Preseen analysis comes up to close to 60 pages. And we give you a detailed questioning, a detailed relation to E1, P1 and F1, making your understanding of the company very, very solid. So first part is the revision part. Second part is how you must focus on pre-scene. If you're doing it by yourself, make sure pre-scene is paramount and you very carefully understand the strengths of your company, the weaknesses of your company, what your company does, what your company should be doing, all of that. That brings me to pillar number 3, which is arguably the most important pillar. This is the mock writing pillar. Now the mock writing pillar, none of the case study preparation is complete without writing actual mocks. When students study with us, you do mock writing on my mock portal, which is exactly like the exam, which is timed and which is professionally marked by my markers once you submit your answers. Just a very simple example and analysis of the same is present on your screen right now. You'll see that it's a full mock, 3 hours on the right hand side, 45 minutes for each question, and then the question is laid out in the same format like you would expect in the exam. Without practicing and without having a professional tell you where you've gone right, where you've gone wrong, how are you going to improve? So the third pillar is, after the pre-scene is done, we begin with mock question writing, where we give you 25 exam styled mock questions done on our portal. Each question is marked, checked and corrected. Each question gives professional feedback and shows you the way forward with model answers. If these 3 pillars are followed, these 3 pillars are something that you accomplish, there is no chance that you can't do well on the operational case study exam. Now, our teaching style is not conventional. It's something that we constantly innovate by our scientific research, by all the different researches that we do. So we do a total of 25 questions, like I said, but mine is a very unique style of teaching. I won't give you a 3-hour mock on the first attempt itself, because you can't do justice to it. It will only scare you and it will only throw your confidence down the drain. I don't want that. I want you to build confidence. So we'll do a 1 question mock first, 45 minutes only, without any pressure. Then we'll do 2 question mocks, 1.5 hours. And then slowly we'll build to full 3-hour mock questions, 4 questions in total, exactly like the exam. We create a platform for you to learn. I'm here to push your confidence upwards, not downwards. So it's a very well planned course that we have created, and it's not something that, I created overnight. It's a very detailed research, and you'll see it because of the testimonials that we've got and because of the results that we get, that it works. The mindset of an OCS student is also very, very important. All the technicalities aside, if you write your answer, always keeping in mind that you are a finance officer. Okay, I'm a finance officer. How should I write it? How would I present it? Always thinking you are part of the organization, you will do a good job. There's no right or no wrong. Everyone has different varying opinions. As long as you convince the examiner, you are on the right path. You need to convince the examiner. That convincing will only come if you know your technicalities, E1, P1 and F1, if you know your company, and then if you've practiced it. So again, the 3 pillars that I have mentioned, if you compromise on them, you're done. You can't do well on the exam. So the 3 pillars are something that we keep our focus on. Like I mentioned, my teaching style, very, very unconventional, very, very student centric. So we give you easy illustrative study notes. First step. Second step, we test you using our quiz questions during your revision stage itself. Third step, we give you industry analysis. Fourth step, we give you pre-scene analysis. Every single thing is introduced by us. Fifth step, we tell you how a mock question needs to be written, how you plan for a question, what a question looks like, what should you do in those 45 minutes, how do you break it down, how do you use it efficiently. It's a course, so it's very well planned and it takes time. And we do 25 exam style questions, which we are sure if you practice, you're automatically doing the important topics and automatically you're developing a very strong foundation to do well on this exam. So through this video, I have tried to help you understand how studying with a registered provider can really propel your chances of passing this exam. I gave you the introduction to this exam, what this exam is, I gave you the detailings of what this exam is, and then I showed you the 3 pillars that you got to focus on if you want to pass this exam. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope I'll see you on one of our study courses. Thank you for being here.